Welcome you guys to our active shooter training. We have a very unique situation here. We have a brother and sister tag team here. Both of them are officers. Officer Holland is a deputy sheriff in Norfolk, and Officer Holland is a Petersburg police officer. And so he's going to provide us with excellent training today. And any questions you have, make sure you get them all out now. Don't leave any. No question is a dumb question, no scenario. Whatever you have on your mind, make sure you ask now, so we'll all be better prepared as possible. Hopefully this never happens. Knock on wood. All right. Without further ado, Mr. Holland.
Yeah,
Officer Holland.
Like you said, my name is Sherman Holland. Today I'll be operating under Protection Solutions Group, owner operator, active law enforcement. But we'll get into that, if you don't mind, after you guys introduce yourselves and give me a little background so I can know if I need to defer any questions or things to that nature to your skill set. So the reason I did that, because you notice on the pamphlet, it says mindset, all right? One of the basic mindsets is just knowing your surroundings, knowing your co-workers' skill sets, knowing what they're good at. It doesn't have to be operating a gun. It doesn't have to be karate or kung fu. It doesn't have to be any of those things. It could be, this young lady right here is very good at verbal judo, which we call in law enforcement, which is being able to talk someone down. Because if someone come in this door right now and he deliberately wants to shoot everyone in here, he's going to do it. If you are a leader and you can hold them off until, in my department, we have pretty much a 4-minute arrival time. So 4 minutes is a long time.
A long time.
All right. So you have a deliberate active shooter. You have a spontaneous active shooter. If someone is fired today, some guys, the commercial mind frame is that a person will go home and think about, I'm going to shoot this place up. He's going to come back 2 days later. That's not always the case. Got a guy, everybody carries a handgun these days, to have a handgun in his car. You fire him today, he goes to the car and he's shooting that same day. So the mind frame and mindset would be already knowing your co-worker skill sets, knowing what the X's are, and a lot of people say run, hide, and fight. My philosophy is the mindset is your first priority. Knowing your co-workers, knowing the exits and entrances, knowing what doors have medical supplies in it. There's things in here you can use as improvised weapons, just different things like that. That's what your initial mind frame should be dealing with an active shooter. It doesn't have a age or gender or race. It doesn't matter. As you notice, I have here the first one will be rooms or exit entrance. Like I stated before, I haven't walked around yet. You guys know the building better than I do. So starting tomorrow, if you haven't already did it, come to work, get to know everybody's skill set, come in, find out.
The 33-year-old Drew Grant died in a head-on collision.
Find out what your best interests are. Find out what door has the most foot traffic. Decide whether, and people call it prepping, but it's just like I said, it's a mindset. Available, unavailable, maintenance, and supplies. I touched on that a little bit. Available meaning if the doors are locked, you know that door is locked. If it's always locked, that's a room you need to just bypass as you move forward. Maintenance. The maintenance. When I touch on maintenance, I mean linen closets, facility closets, closets where there are mops and brooms. You can use those things to hold the rooms closed, distract people from coming in, decide whether if that's a place that you want to decide to be at for the time being of the active shooter. I know I might be going a little further, but I'm gonna come back because I have a reasoning for it. If you follow me. All right. So if you notice, I'll be jumping around a little bit. And by the way, this is my first training for pretty much civilians. I'm a SWAT operator. I normally teach on the law enforcement side. So today you'll be getting a training that you'll see my side of me coming to help you guys. So giving you advice on how to disrupt the active shooter, because as you know, the first responsibility of your life is yours. Mine is coming to save you if you need that help. So if you jump back to the next page, statistics, when, where, and how long, and who. All right, those words are pretty much self-explanatory, but when you look at the word when does an active shooter happen? No one knows. It happens whenever that person wants to be an active shooter. Active shooter is not necessarily someone disgruntled. It's not necessarily someone that's been fired or someone that's racial motivated. It doesn't have to be that. An active shooter can be, you go to 7-Eleven to get your daily coffee. A guy goes in to rob the place. Something happens. He shoots someone. The police show up. He shoots someone else because he has nowhere to go. That situation went from a robbery to what? An active shooter, right? So the commercial, and when I say commercial, I mean the society vision of an active shooter is someone being fired, or someone that's racial motivated, or someone that's disgruntled, or along that nature. It doesn't have to be that way. Where? Okay? That's another one. And the reason I put those there, and I didn't put any statistics beside them because, in my opinion, those things, they vary. So this week could be a 75% situation of an active shooter at the time frame between 12 and 2. But that's not always the case. So you can't, as a law enforcement officer, yeah, we can look at those stats and try to deter what we need to do to respond. But as a civilian in a work setting like this, that you really don't need to know it because it can happen out of anywhere. All right. So again, where we get to a video where these young guys right here, this happened in 1998. They were children who pulled the fire alarm. They actually thought about it, deliberately decided, I'm going to shoot my school up. They pulled the fire alarm. 13 and 11 years old. So, what is that telling you? It can happen anywhere, from school to, it doesn't matter how old, doesn't matter the education. It depends on if that person wants to shoot and he's deliberate about it, he's going to do it. All right. So your job is to deter it and have the mind frame to stop it and slow it down as much as possible. Because I'm in here teaching. If a guy comes in here now, whatever his motivation is, and says, "Oh, that place, I just want to shoot it up," and he comes in here, what's the first thing we're going to do? Nobody's ever really thought about it until it happens. Now, excuse my language, but you SIHT, and you're all over the place, scrambling, not knowing where's the exit. Where I don't have anything. I don't know where to go. Where did he come from? Some guys might hear shooting and say, "Hey, is that a shooting?" No, and then he kicks in the door and we're looking crazy, right? So that's the where. Like I said, you had, and I'm pretty sure you know some of the main ones, like the Dallas shooting, the Orlando club shooting, where a guy he came into the nightclub with locks and chains and chained the door and started shooting the club up. You had the Dallas shooting where the guy said, I'm going to start shooting at approximately this time. The time didn't happen. It passed on, and the next day he did it. Nobody listened to him. Nobody thought about him. They called him a joke, and he shot the place up. All right. How long? Normally, an active shooter is between 3 and 4 minutes. That is a statistic that is very important because it's not etched in stone, but that could give you a detail on, because like I said, most police officers respond in 4 minutes, depending on the jurisdiction. So if you have 4 minutes, that can give you some hope that 1 more minute, 2 more minutes, 3 more minutes. Hopefully I start hearing sirens. All right. So just you going in the closet and putting a trash can and a couple of desks and cutting the lights off and cutting your cell phones off, that will help you get closer to that 4 minutes till your help gets there. Okay. Who? Again, that doesn't really matter. Who could be black, white, Asian, tall, short. It doesn't matter. Education factor doesn't matter. Training doesn't matter. None of that matters. If he's deliberate and he wants to shoot, or he has a reason to shoot in his mind, he's going to shoot. Or she, I'm sorry. Or she. Shoot the place up. All right.
Are there a lot of she shooters?
They're not. I'm pretty sure they are. For nationally and recognized, no. I think there was one, I think in Arkansas, where she shot like a doctor's office up. I don't think she killed anybody. She came in and shot the building up. No one was injured or killed, but that's one that sticks out in my mind.
We'll hear about that too.
All right, touched on the easy access, difficulty access, protection and barricade. Again, and this still is under the mindset and prepping of this training. So, like I said, the most important thing is getting that mind frame that the daily mind frame of anything can happen. It can happen at any time. Once you get that in your mind, it'll be better because it can happen at any moment. So starting tomorrow, you come into work, or whenever you guys come back to work, come to work, find out where your exits are, find out where your medical supplies are. In your off time, anybody know how to use tourniquets? All right, I'm pretty sure. Okay, tourniquets. That is very important. Gauze, chest seal, Band-Aids. Find out where that stuff is in your building, and there's nothing wrong. And I brought some things too. Start putting some of that stuff in your purses. A tourniquet is this big. Stuff a tourniquet in your pocketbook. Somebody come shoot, even if it's not an active shooter, you break your hand on the glass or cut your hand on the glass, you throw a tourniquet on. That mind frame allows you to have one step ahead instead of looking, let me take my necktie off and tie it up. If you have a tourniquet, you don't need it. If you know where the medical supplies are, you don't need it. It's always good to keep it on you because of any situation. In your car, you drive home with your family, anything can happen, tourniquet. Chest seal, gauze, Band-Aids, peroxide, all that good stuff. And we'll touch on toward the end of the training where you can get more advanced stuff as you go on. I'm addicted to it. My wife calls me Tac Man. When I leave to go out, I'm taking everything. Flares, cones. I'm not trying to be that guy that breaks up on the side of the road and my wife looking at me like, oh, you're the man. So I'm gonna sit out here and freeze to death because I didn't have what I needed, right? Knowing your co-worker skill set, I touched on that as well. So we got some military, we have some veterans, we have different people in here with different skill sets and different backgrounds. Know those things. Know each of you guys' skill set. Because it's you guys versus the bad guy. He comes in here today, and I know what you can do. I know what you can do. I know what you can do. I know who has limitations. You got to know it. If you don't, you're going to struggle trying to defeat the enemy, which is that is what he is at that point, an enemy. So
what about, how do you know what your strengths are going to be when that happens? You don't need I'm cool under pressure, but.
Well, okay. run out the door. You know what I mean? So you don't have to run and hide and all that stuff if you don't have to. This is just if someone comes in and starts shooting, you have nowhere else to go, you run. Get away from the danger. If it's running outside as your closest exit, that's what you do. If you can't, and he comes into that door, you run the opposite way. You got to run upstairs. You just run. You're getting away from the dangers, pretty much. Advantages and disadvantages. I think this is very important. Advantages and disadvantages. And when I say that, I mean you want to have the advantage over the bad guy. So if you can run into a building where, or if you can run into a room where there are tools, brooms, mops, stuff that you can lock the door with, stuff you can put in front of the door, stuff that you can use to defend yourself, medical supplies. If there are any of those things in a room, use those rooms. They're the ones that you want to take advantage of. We're taught as in law enforcement, we should have the advantage over any bad guy. So that's the mind frame you should have. Have the advantage. So don't run if you don't have to, don't run into a room where it's nothing you can use. Don't run into a room where you can't lock the door. Don't run into a room where the lights don't cut off. Or, for example, this room where he can look in and there's nowhere to hide. I could use this room, which we'll get into later. Put all these things in front of the door. And one of the statistics is active shooters don't typically go in a room where there's deterrence. So if you guys could use your teamwork, take all these desks and put it in front of this door. A lot of times he's not going to come into this room. He might know you're in here, but it's like, too much trouble. I came to kill 15 people. I'm only at 12. I can't get to these guys. I'm going to go to the next people. Okay? And then weighing your options. Decide whether the good outweighs the bad, meaning if there is a problem with one area of the room, should I stay? Should I go to the next room? Should I bunker down here and start making this my fort? Anybody following that? Yeah. All right. Alright, so, okay, now we're at hide. Again, a lot of this stuff is going to be repetitive because they all mesh in together. I'm pretty sure you guys have actually noticed that. But hiding, available, unavailable, accessible. I pretty much touched on that. So you're going to go somewhere where it's available and more beneficial to you and your staff members. Touched on secure and unsecure. Weapons, all right? So, improvised weapons. Everybody know what improvised means. Yeah. Making weapons. The coffee pot. The desk, chairs. Anything that you can make a weapon to defend yourself, that would be improvised. So, if you go in a room where it's a lot of stuff, the more stuff, the better. All right? On-body weapons. I carry a pen. I'll pass that around. It's just a basic pen. I carry it pretty much everywhere I go. So that'll be your on-body stuff. I'm not sure what your policy and procedures are for knives or any of that type stuff. But a pocket knife, a tactical pen, even a regular pen will work if that's all you have.
So from the Capitol that just happened,
right?
And the congressman, one of them ones that got in that room, he did like 5 tours in Iraq.
Right.
He was a ranger or something, and that's what he was talking about, and that's what he used.
A pen.
A pen.
Yeah.
He pulled his pen out. That was going to be his weapon of choice.
That is the most universal. Everybody carries a pen, and it doesn't need training to operate it. And to touch on what into that building. We have a quick minute to run to the next building. So it's not run, hide, and stay hidden. It's run, if you can, hide until police come. If you need to, you might have to move again. You might have to smell and reevaluate. So, me personally, if I hear an active shooter come, I'm going to go somewhere, I'm going to hide, I'm going to bunker down, I'm going to listen, I'm going to smell. All right, I'm good. If I notice he's getting closer or he's left out and come around the backside, it's time to hide again. So you're going to go back to run and hide again. So you might have to do that until police get there. All right. Depending on how many bad guys, how many people, how big the building is, it just depends on. That's the situation.
So you do instruct, take that chance to get out when they leave. I've heard some other things. But
So
I can see because somebody's gonna be scared.
right. So this is the thing. So like I said in the beginning, if you first hear if a guy kicks in his glass and starts shooting, your first mission is to get out. Like, you know, it's you're not gonna say, oh, he's right there, let me bunker down here. That would be kind of wow. You know what I mean? So you leave if you can.
If you can.
And then when I say, if you notice, I have continued again. Like I said, what I mean by that is if someone's come to shoot, and you are in a building or in a classroom, and he's shooting, and he's getting closer, and he decides, okay, I'm going outside to reload, and you know this area is not the advantage, leave. But that's going to be up to, like I said, your skill set, and as a group, should we leave? Or if you want to stay, I'm not saying to leave. If you feel comfortable and you feel like you have the advantage, and you feel like you guys are safe until help arrives, which normally is, like I said, they're 4 minutes, hunker down. If not, that's why I said continue if you need to. It's not always guaranteed that this is the best place to be. If it happens right now, of course, yeah, stay until you realize like this is not the place to be at. All right.
Excuse me. So if you say he decides to come shoot, he knows the building just as well as you do. So if he goes and he searches this whole building and he finds nobody, he knows where you are now.
Right.
Because he knows it just as well as you do. So if he comes from back there and he goes that way, he didn't search this room yet. You have to take the time to go to the next room because now you know he's coming here.
Right.
There's nowhere else for him to look.
Right. You know you didn't leave the building. You're here. It's a scary situation because some people get somewhere they're comfortable. I'm here and I want to stay. But if it's not safe, and you, yes sir.
It's kind of like what happened in Dean Beach. A lot of people just kind of stayed instead of trying to.
The reports I got, yeah, some people tried to stay, but they also said some people did try to leave. Which, like I said, it depends on the circumstance. I'm not saying just, oh, we got some time, let's leave. Nah, if you are here and this door locks and you can put stuff in front of the door and bunker down, yeah, stay. I'll give you a quick scenario, kind of generic. Like I said, I'm a SWAT operator. I've been searching for a guy, wanted subject, murder suspect. So, you know, me and the team, we go in, we look for the guy, and we can't find him. What he was doing was the same thing I'm telling you guys. He kept moving.
Oh, okay.
He kept moving. So, and it wasn't my whole SWAT team. It was pretty much the quick response team, which was like 4 of us. We entered the house, searched upstairs, searched downstairs. Funny story, what he did was he took a sofa, which he was already mindset. His mindset was one day they're gonna find out where I am. I need to be prepared. So what he did was he cut the back. Picture a sofa. He cut the back, that material that's in the back of the sofa. He cut it, and his girlfriend was there, so he got inside the sofa, and she pinked it back up. So we am I gonna be able to, once that fight starts or once that shooter starts, am I gonna be prepared, right? So, are you gonna be prepared mentally if an active shooter happens and you run into a room? Are you gonna remember, turn my cell phone off or turn it down? Are you gonna remember, let me call 911 and just put it in my pocket? That's a mindset. That is a not only training but actively training. Coming in here, y'all have a, it's the first of the month. Let's get together and see if we can make our situation better. Because like I said, the cell phone can kill you. You run in the building, the phone rings. Your daughter just called and said, "Hey mom, I'm home from school." He hears that phone. Now he was down the hall. Now he's coming towards you because your phone rang. Because you didn't have the mindset to say, okay, slow down, let me turn my phone down. Computers, lights, all that stuff. You come in, cut the lights off. Start putting stuff in front of the doors. That alone, like I said before, is a deterrent. And statistics show that keeps him or her from wanting to enter that room. Because you have the advantage. The lights off. It's 10 of you guys. The lights off. It's stuff in front of the door. Now, does he have the advantage or the disadvantage? If he's a nut, which a lot of times they are, if they just want to shoot the place up, he's already went to the nut realm. But but if he's a nut that's actively thinking, like, I don't want to die yet, and I don't want to die this way, should I go in that room? A lot of times they're going to say, nah, let me go to the easy target. But if he does decide to go through all those barriers and turn the lights on, you make sure the decision he made was the wrong one. But turn those cell phones off, turn those radios off, the computers. Again, the more the merrier. You can't do it all yourself. Somebody can turn the cell phone off. Hey, Miss Such and Such, go dim the computer lights. Mr. Johnson, go put the chairs in front of the doors. So the more you guys, you can, make your room a fortress. And of course, lock the doors. If there's a lock, lock it. And if you notice at the bottom, it says deterrents are good, and pretty much the more deterrents, the better. All right.
You said call 911 and put it in your pocket. Do we need to tell 911 there's an active shooter, or we just dial 911? Or are they gonna be able to figure it out?
Two things you can do in that situation. Initially, if you hit an active shooter, if you hit a shooting, yeah. But don't have a conversation with them. 911, what's your emergency? Active shooter, what is it, 5235? 5752 Princess Anne Road. Click up. They coming. Whether it's a joke or not, they're coming.
So we don't need to stay on the line, just
I
because
would.
they know.
Yeah, just give them the address and hang up. They're coming in. First of all, okay, the thing with it is, with a cell phone, the way we pinpoint your location is through your phone. So if you use a landline, it's coming back here. You don't even have to get the address, but it's good. Just give it just in case. A cell phone is not gonna. We can ping it and give a location, and then we can say it came back to Desiree. Pull your address up. That's just too much. So if you got a cell phone, 5752 Princess Anne Road, someone shooting, hang the phone up. That's it, and keep it moving. You can, as you go, you can, throw the phone or put it in your pocket. I suggest put it in your pocket, but it just depends your time. If you have time to, if someone shoots and you know that they're outside or upstairs and you're downstairs, yeah. Hey, I got out the shooter. You can give them the closing description. You can give them all the stuff you need to, but if you don't have that time, yeah, I wouldn't. So the first one I'm going to show you guys, I know you already know it, is and this piggybacks on what you were saying. Now, man, this happened.
You say you heard gunshots?
Yes, like,
How many shots did you hear?
more than 10, I can tell you.
More than 10? Okay, and did you hear anything after the gunshots?
No.
No?
As soon as I heard that, we ran.
Okay, okay.
We were leaving the club, and then as soon as she left, gunshots were just going like crazy.
Are you near Paul's nightclub?
No, I'm home. My son is stuck in the bathroom down there. I got him on the other phone. I called before, but they called the dispatcher. They don't
Ma'am, the phones have rolled over to the sheriff's office. They've got multiple officers and deputies on scene working the call right now, okay? Is he injured in any way,
Okay.
you know?
Okay.
Ma'am, what I need him to do is just stay where he is. Don't go anywhere or do anything until the deputies and officers clear the area, okay? Just have him stay where he is.
Okay.
Okay, they've got, like I said, multiple deputies and OPD officers on scene, okay? Just tell them to stay where he is,
So,
stay tight, and follow the officers.
If you notice on that 911 call, right? By the way, there was, I think, 3 different people calling 911. So, if you notice, at one point, the young lady was trying to explain something to the dispatcher. And she was like, ma'am, I just... So, that's what I said. If you can, just give them a quick synopsis of what's going on. Someone's shooting, and I'm at this building. Come now, right? Then you had a mother calling saying her son was at the nightclub. So all of that stuff is going on. When we get a robbery, you know, I try to put in on the radio and dispatcher tell me 207, hold on, I'm on 911. But I'll be the one trying to tell them what's going on. So it's better just to say what you gotta say in a situation like this. Say what you gotta say, hang the phone up, and protect yourself. Because you don't, they're gonna tell you to hold on. Somebody else gonna call, then the mama gonna call, and then you like, what I supposed to do? And then all of a sudden you're gonna be more stressed out. Not only the gun shots, the smell, and the blood and the screaming. Now you're on the phone with 911, and that didn't go as planned. Now you're like, oh, now 911 not coming. So just say what you gotta say, hang the phone up, and then get back to what you need to do, protect yourself. All right, that was just a 911, so I want to show you. All right, here we go. Check this out.
Well, today we learned what the gunman said to the Orlando 911 center after he set in motion the worst mass shooting in U.S. history. Omar Mateen, who killed 49 people, pledged himself to the leader of ISIS in his call and in several calls that a police negotiator made to his cell phone. Here's David Begnaud.
Oh my God, you're going to get shot.
Now, hold on.
Calm and deliberate.
I'm sorry, but this goes back to what you were saying earlier, right? Are you going to be prepared, right? Now, this is just a video, and me just hearing it, I think my blood pressure went up. You know what I mean? So imagine you hearing that in this building. Gunshots echo.
Chilling, calm, and deliberate is how the FBI described Omar Mateen when he called 911 during the rampage. The FBI released a transcript of a 50-second 911 call Mateen made from inside the club nearly 30 minutes after he opened fire. Mateen, in the name of God the Merciful, the Beneficent. Operator, what? Praise be to God, Mateen goes on. What's your name? My name is I pledge of allegiance to Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi of the Islamic State. Shortly after that 911 call, the FBI says crisis negotiators talked with Mateen 3 different times between 2:48 a.m. and 3:24. In that time, Mateen called himself an Islamic soldier and told negotiators to stop bombing Syria and Iraq, saying that's why he was out here right now. Among the lingering questions for Orlando Police Chief John Mina is whether police
Just in that little clip when they pretty much introduced him, you can get a lot out of just what the reporter was saying about the guy, right? And about the shooting. It shows, like I spoke before, that the first shooting that we mentioned was in Jonesboro, Arkansas, which were 13-year-old kids. So that touches on the fact that it doesn't matter how you look or what color you are, what your background is. All right, so that's number one. Number two shows how fast negotiators got on the phone and tried to talk this guy as he was shooting, right? So, and then you already heard how many gunshots, right? So if I rewind it back and you see
Syria and Iraq, saying that's why he was out here right now. Among the lingering questions for Orlando Police Chief John, shortly after that 911 call, the FBI says crisis negotiators pledge of allegiance to Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi of the... What's your name? My name is, I pledge of allegiance to Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi of the Islam. Praise be to God, of God the merciful, the beneficent. Mateen made from inside the club nearly 30 minutes after he opened.
So y'all heard that, right? And where did he make the call at? Inside the club. Premeditated, of course, because he locked the doors and all that stuff. All right. So as he was shooting people, he was calling. So you can play that in two different scenarios. That might give you a little bit of time to figure out what your next play is, and it also shows you how dedicated, deliberate he was on shooting people. He locked the doors. He shot people. He called 911, and he pretty much said why he was doing it. It wasn't like a guy that didn't have a game plan where he just, like the kids, they say, hey, they're picking on me, I'm gonna pour the fire alarm and start shooting people. This guy planned it. He had different weapons. Then we'll talk about another one where the guy came in with body armor. So you're gonna have, not you guys, but there's been active shooters where there were unprepared, and then you had guys that were active shooters that were military, like for example, and I'll play that one next, the guy in Dallas that shot, 15 police officers?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna show you one clip where, and we study this all the time, where one of the cops, and goes back to mindset. This guy was military trained against a police officer that was trained as well, but I think this guy was maybe a Green Beret or something. So the fight was pretty much unfair from the beginning. But it'll show you how this guy had body armor. He knew how to get behind cover. He knew how to get police officers to come out. So in those situations, again, I keep touching on it because it's very important to me anyway, is preparedness, mindset. If you're not prepared, and fast forward, if you look at the bottom of that paper, as I told Corey, I'll be jumping all over the place. But if you look at the bottom, it says taboo, and it says nothing wrong with it. In society, we have certain people who think preparing and prepping and all of these things are taboo. So you got guys that go out, like I said, you got some extreme, you have some everyday carry guys. But if you are a person that is always prepared, you don't have to get prepared. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying go out and come to work in army fatigues and a bulletproof vest and a bunch of knives. No, you don't need all of that. What you can do is come to work with a like I have a little small bag here. This probably be more for the men, but this little small bag. I don't have it loaded out with the stuff I normally have in it today because I bought some stuff to show you guys. But you can put just different stuff in here, tourniquets, a little small bag. This is all you need. You can put this in a purse. This has tourniquets in it, rubber tourniquets, chest seal, all different types of stuff. I'll pass it around in a minute, but like I said, I got ahead of myself, but this could save your life or save your coworker's life. And it's not overboard. It's not something that you're going to have it strapped to you. You're not coming to work like you're going to Vietnam or anything. You just bring this, throw it in your book bag, throw it in your purse, you come to work. Oh, active shooter. Oh, Miss Desiree. Here you go. Boom. You open it up and you save someone's life because it wasn't taboo in your mind. You know what I mean? But we'll get to that. Alright, so if you notice at the top of the second page, it says fight. And I have no bullet points. Anybody know why?
No rules.
No rules. Give him everything he's looking for when he come in. Alright? No fight is fair. And then if you notice, I have in parentheses, no rules. And then I did a double, what is it, double
Contra?
Yeah. And it says, except stay in the fight and win. Alright? That's the only rule. So, eye gouging, stabbing, choking, hitting with chairs, throwing the, and don't be like in the movies where someone is trying to hurt you, you knock them down, and then you say, oh, you start hugging your coworker. Please. Alright? Get rid of them. I'm gonna tell you, I'm not the person that's, gonna say kill someone, but if he's trying to come in and kill people, I will make sure he will never get up again. That's it. That's just me. I don't, it might not be politically correct, but I'm gonna kill him. I am. Quick thing about, I'm not sure if Corey knows, but I survived a home invasion. Had a clown break in my house. I used my skill set and my training, and it is what it is.
He's not invading anymore?
Yeah, I don't think he'll be breaking in people's homes anymore and trying to hurt people. And that goes to mindset, training, not just necessarily with a gun. I'm not saying with a gun. I mean training with how to use a tourniquet. All different types of tourniquets. Training on, so who said they were the big guy for the department?
Chris Mitchell.
All right. So whoever it is, it can be, and you can designate it. The owner or supervisor could designate it to each person. Just spontaneously, he can come in and say, Corey, at 13:05 or at 1:05, when everybody's eating and having a good time, I need you to come in and say, hey, active shooter. And see how people respond. And grade them on it. Grade them on it, because the thing is, if you can become an asset or liability, and when I say that, not in a Desert Storm or that type of situation, but what I mean by that is, it's 11 people in here, 11 people can be casualties, or one person can be casualty, or 5 person can be a casualty, or no one can be a casualty. But if there's 11 of you guys and 9 of you are, that's 2 people who have to not only live with that trauma, but try to help you live and also protect themselves and all of that stuff. So if you can just prepare for it, and like I said, it's not taboo. It's not, in society people think preparing and being prepared is a problem. It's not. Be prepared. Come to work. Know your exits. Know your entrances. Know where your medical stuff is. If you don't, you're going to lose. And as you know, it's not a move. If you lose, there's no coming back. You don't get a second chance. You don't get to start over. You don't say, hey, active shooter, try it again. Come from this way this time. That's not going to happen. It's going to be, I'm in. I want to kill everybody at this building. I'm going to shoot everybody. The doors are locked. What we going to do? All right? All right, types of active shooters. It was not, it was alleged that he was Middle Eastern or Muslim. That was alleged. I haven't kept up with it since then. But anybody that, to me, he might have just been a nut. He might have been from Middle Eastern descent, but he might have just been a nut. Who, you know, I'm not sure. You got domestic and foreign. You guys at the Capitol building, regardless of your beliefs and your political views, they were terrorists.
Yes.
All right. That's, you know, so one of my things is let's get out of the realm of terrorists are going to be guys who say, you know, Allah is the greatest. You know, I have Muslims in my family. They don't believe in none of that stuff that some of these guys believe in. All right. So let's get out of that. Let's realize that terrorist is the word terrorist. Look the word terrorist up, and it doesn't say Middle Eastern descent. It doesn't say the Proud Boys. It does not say black. It does not say white. It says terrorist. Look the definition up, and that's what a terrorist is. But some of them can be disgruntled, and they're I wouldn't consider it. I know I have it under types of active shooters, but the disgruntled employee would be a reason for the active shooter. So again, someone and always remember, the active shooter could be spontaneous. It can be deliberate. It can be premeditated. All right. So, of course, hey man, the service is no longer needed. You go get your weapon. You come in here. Everybody got to pay, right? Or you can say, hey, on payday in 2 weeks, I'm coming in here. I'm gonna let everybody know they should have used me. So that's what you got to prepare for. It doesn't have to be today or tomorrow. It could be whenever he's bucked up and decided that's what he wants to do. All right. All right. Racial, in-house. I think I messed up. That in-house should be another bullet point, but that's self-explanatory. We already know what racial is. In-house or off-site. All right. So in-house or off-site can relate to all of those bullet points. And what I mean by that is it could be my man here that was fired, or it could be a disgruntled employee that says he was fired from on his birthday in 2016. He was living in New Mexico and he worked for a company just like this, and he was fired. But he doesn't live in that city anymore, in that state anymore, so he's going to make you guys pay. You know what I mean? So it doesn't have to be a lot of people think it's going to be a disgruntled employee. It could be, you can't understand. You'll never understand what their mind is. So you just got to realize that it's different. You can't put an active shooter in a bubble. They're all over the place. You'll never understand because a sane person would never understand an insane person, pretty much. He has his own reasoning and he thinks it's legit. If it's not, that's for you to decide. All right. All right, and you notice I got all of the above or some of the above. It could be all of those things. He could be a disgruntled, domestic, and foreign, and he could hate white people or black people. He could be mental, and he could be all of those at one time. Or he could just be some of them. Or he could be none of them. He could just be an active shooter. He could just be a nut and say, man, I just want to shoot some people. So,
you were talking about verbal judo. Is there a time for us to put Dr. Cherry in there?
yeah.
He's coming through the door.
I would say
She's our negotiator.
verbal judo would be I would think that the time for verbal judo situation would be as last resort.
Okay.
He comes in, I'm the active shooter, right? I'm here. You can't go anywhere.
You're going on a mission, okay.
Right. So the verbal judo would be just trying to get closer to that 4 minutes. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it doesn't have to be him putting the gun down and you know, going to get baptized. It could just be, should I shoot her? Should I shoot him? You know what I mean? You want to, like I said in the beginning, it all ties into one of the average. I know our average response time is 4 minutes, and a lot of times it's early, it's quicker than that. It depends on where I am in my beat or in my area. So you want to get closer to that 4 minutes as possible. If you know 3 minutes has passed, he done shot everybody, and he comes in here with you 11, and you think you can talk him for a minute and, you know, say what you need to say or distract them or whatever to get closer to that 4 minutes, that's your last resort. But it's not something you just go out and he's shooting people, you go in the hallway and
Come here, come
nah, that's not what I mean. Nah. Yeah. Yeah. Well, unless you want to do that so the other people can run, but I wouldn't.
When I run away.
You talk to him about the chair.
I trained her not to talk to anybody.
There's got the hand to hand.
I'm sure he's gonna talk to him and I'm gonna beat him up. We're gonna do what we have to do. We're gonna do what we have to do. It reveals itself in the moment.
I'm thinking on the town, I'm climbing up in the roof.
I don't think Corey's gonna be helping us much.
I don't have to outrun them, I just have to outrun
So statistically speaking, active shooters are generally single people?
I don't even know.
It's not a team usually.
No. Oh, you mean single that way? Nah.
Not single, like not married.
Well, it's been the kids I mentioned.
Except for the kids.
Right, and the reason I harp on those guys is because that tells you a lot about an active shooter. They were kids.
They were
Yeah,
babies.
they were 13 and 11, right? So you take that and you put it over here, right? Their age. You take that they pulled the fire alarm to get everybody out. That's from a 13-year-old and 11-year-old. That was deliberate. Okay, I need to shoot these people and I'm gonna figure out how to do it. That's coming from an 11-year-old. That's not even from someone with some life experience that can say, okay, let me really plan. So you put that over. Then you put the type of weapons they use and how they shot the people. And who they shot. They shot their classmates. So if they can shoot people that they've been to school with and live in their neighborhood, some guy that's a stranger to everybody in here, he could get rid of you guys just without even thinking and move on. That's what they always say. They shoot and move on. Shoot and move on. You had the kids in I think Oklahoma. These guys were shooting their classmates, right? Some people were faking like they were dead and they were standing over them and shooting them again. So put all of that into play. So you got this guy that I'm about to show you. You got the nightclub guy. He shot 49 people. If you remember the guy that was in Las Vegas, that perched up at the top of the building, and again, going back to what you said, is that gunshot? They heard it and they kept partying. And Dan said, "Oh, that's not gunshots," and he was picking people off. Mindset. Me, if I hear it, I'm like, hey, I don't give if it's gunshots or not. We out of here. You know, and that's normally what would happen here. And going back to my situation, and not to get into too much detail, I was asleep. The people next door was actually doing construction on another home. So when I heard my door being kicked in, boom! I just got off work, night shift. I heard it, and if I didn't have my mindset and training and say, okay, let me decide if it's not an intruder. Some people would say, oh, that's not gunshot. You shouldn't do that. You should say, they gunshots, let me make sure it's not. Do the reverse, right? So I heard him kick in the door, I jump up, and initially, but I kept moving was, that's not someone breaking in the house, that's the people next door doing construction. They were doing total reconstruction. Now, fast forwarding, after all the situation that happened, imagine if I would have said, there's just somebody, working on the house next door. I wouldn't be here probably. So don't second guess yourself. If you hear gunshots, that's a gunshot until you can prove otherwise. All right, now this is the guy I was telling you about, and that's what I was saying about his training is, like I said, I think he's a Green Beret or So that plays on the response of a police officer or a SWAT team or your law enforcement. It's going to take a while. So it goes back to being prepared. The more you prepare, the more you don't have to depend on me or local law enforcement. You know what I mean? And that's it. So this one is, I'm just show y'all some stuff. Actually, I'm gonna pass out. I was supposed to pass this out earlier. How many people?
I think so.
12, 13.
Enough?
Yeah, that's enough.
You need when you get inside.
First one.
Oh, no, he's on the first one. No, man.
First target.
No, no. Let's talk about the chicken.
So if somebody in our office, we don't have any, but was open carry, I guess that's what we call it in the, is that a good idea for us? Let's say I was.
No.
I'm not. Okay, don't engage him with my gun.
Oh, if you, yeah, if you can, if you have that, if you have that, if that presents itself, yeah, of course, yeah.
And here's why I ask, because my sister she carries, and I wouldn't trust her to shoot the side of the building.
But that comes with, like I said, training. You have steel training, which is just standing at a range and shooting. Then you have other training where you actually moving and stuff. So once she conquers the just shooting at targets, and she feels that she wants to move on to the next round. And I sent that out. I'll go over that in a second. I know it's Friday. I'm almost finished. So, where is that bag? All right. So this is just pretty much some of the stuff that I suggest.
In our Jack Bauer bag.
All right. Everybody know what this is, right?
No. What's that?
It's a tourniquet. So there are a few areas on your body if you get shot or stabbed or cut. You got pretty much like 30 seconds before you die or bleed out. This is a tourniquet. Like I said, it's very small. You can put it in a pocketbook. So pretty much what it is.
For a wound?
Yeah. Well, you place this above the wound. There's certain places you can't put it, of course, like around your neck and different stuff, but certain places you put the tourniquet on above the wound, you strap it, and you turn it tight as you can. That'll stop the bleeding, right? I suggest everyone carry one in their everyday life. Never know when you're gonna need it.
You said it goes above the wound?
Yeah. So this is one of your arteries. If you get shot, 30 seconds you die, right? Or bleed out.
Yeah.
So what you would do, go here, go high as you can, tight as you can, and you turn. And it gets tighter and tighter and tighter. That's gonna cut the blood flow so you don't bleed out.
Yeah.
All right.
And how long can that stay on before you?
You wouldn't have to put something over the wound itself so the blood doesn't come out quicker?
That's why you put it over the wound.
Oh, I thought you were saying you were putting it above the wound.
Yeah, above.
So don't put it on the
Don't
wound.
put it on. So if I'm shot here, you put it above.
Okay.
So what's gonna happen is gonna keep the blood above it circulating in your body, and the blood that's already here is you're gonna lose that. You don't want to lose more blood.
Oh yeah. Dang. That's something else.
So like I said, I suggest everyone carry one of these.
You can always use your belt.
Do you
I've
use your
never
belt?
seen that before.
Yeah. defend yourself if someone is to break in your home, what to do, how to do it, how to get out, how to clear your house and make an exit. Also, how to, if your family members are home, how to get to your family members and get them to safety as well.
How much of a, if you have a dog? is that a little-
Dogs are good, yeah.
Is that a deterrent,
Even a small dog, large dog, if it
Yeah,
barks,
dog.
if it barks, it barks. It's a deterrent.
okay. How about the-
Alarms, barking, dog, alarm system, all of that stuff. But again, like we talked about the active shooter, if somebody wants to, this guy broke in my house and it was 10 o'clock in the morning and my patrol car was in my front yard.
That's bold.
Yeah, so,
You can get stoned for a fight.
he got it. Wow. Handgun, rifle familiarization, that's self-explanatory. Individual protection,
What is that?
that's pretty much,
Defensive training, like,
no, you carrying your concealed weapon, how to deploy it, or how to, activate your weapon, where to carry it at, just different stuff like that.
Okay.
How to train yourself in shooting and moving, or how to defend yourself with your hands while having your weapon. Just different stuff. Family protection, that's one of my big ones. I have four children and a wife and a dog, and all of my kids know how to clear our house. They know everybody has a responsibility. That's pretty much the, what's the word? That's the basics. Just they know what to do, when to do it. My son is, he's an athlete, so he knows his job. My daughter knows her job. My smallest daughter knows her job. My son, he's 3, so he doesn't really have a job. So everybody has to get they have to take care of him. So when I'm not home, as we spoke about the big dog. When big dog is not home, who's the big dog? My son. If my wife is gone, he's the big dog. He knows, and it might be a little strange to some of you guys, but me and my son go to the range. He's very familiar with a weapon. He knows when I leave and someone breaks in the house, he has his own room downstairs. My other daughter stay upstairs. He knows where to go get that weapon. He knows where to put the kids at and how to call 911, how to get in the closet, and we have a password to come in. So stuff like that.
Question. Storing your gun now, I don't know what the rules are. Can you have your bullets in your gun? Are they
Yeah.
supposed to be separate?
No, you can.
One
Yeah.
time they not supposed to.
The only and I think I know what you're talking about.
Car.
Yeah, but if you have
No, I mean in your home.
and you can have it loaded to the max.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to. Yeah. So I'm not a big. Some guys, and I base this off of training. Some people, even when they carry a gun on their person, they don't carry one in the chamber. I'm not a fan of that at all. If you get an altercation, you have to charge your weapon. That's too much time. So I'm not a fan of that. I have one already in my chamber, ready to rock and roll when the time is needed.
On safety though.
Some guns don't have safety. Like
Is
this
yours?
one doesn't have a safety. Your safety is this. Your gun is pointed at a safe direction at all times. You don't point it at something that you don't intend to shoot. That's the safety. You know what I mean? The safe, if you have a safety on it, it's still mechanical. So if you being reckless with a gun, you can shoot somebody still. So that's the safety is you. Your safety is your gun finger. EDC concepts. I'm very big on EDC. I carry a pocket knife, a little small one. I carry my weapon all the time. Not this one. I got a small weapon I carry.
Would this be considered a small?
Yeah, but guess what? It's so wild that you say that, because if somebody were to come in here as an active shooter, that would come in handy. Cutting rope.
Or you can pick
Yeah, anything. Hey,
For your cheese.
I don't think I have it. I thought I brought one to show.
Slow you down, they can get you.
But yeah, a little knife, all that stuff, it comes in handy when you need it. Go ahead.
So, yeah, I was also in a at-risk shooting situation or having a Barry Robinson Center a few years ago. You remember that, Larry? Yeah, and just going through this training, I did a lot of stuff wrong.
Like what?
When he actually put the gun in my face and he actually pulled the trigger, but the weapon misfired. It didn't fire.
Right.
Thank God for that. But when I pushed him and ran out of the door, I ran out of one building into another building. I didn't lock the door when I went in that second building.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what we talking about.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have locked that door because he came in that door and there were other kids in that cafeteria at the time. And then I ran in there, but I was calling 911, and then I heard these gunshots. So it's the same gun that misfired when he pointed at my face and shot. And he discharged 2 rounds in that cafeteria with the kids, and it went crazy. It was chaotic.
That's where it comes at with the whole locking door. That's why I was saying y'all should have a day, once a month, twice a month, once every 2 months, where you do it. Muscle memory is everything. So the more you train, next time you do it, it just be muscle memory.
Right.
You run the door, you're gonna lock the door.
Right.
You're gonna grab something, you're gonna put it in front of the door. All that stuff is gonna be just muscle memory.
And never do it as a drill.
Right, yeah. As it is it if it's real. You know what I mean?
I was only thinking, let me get away and let me call 911. That's
Right.
That was on my mind.
That's most people are gonna respond that way. 99% of people are gonna respond the same way you responded.
They were advertising personal tasers. I was just listening to radio the other day, and they were advertising. It was like a taser for like regular folks to carry a.
Yeah, you can carry a taser.
Yeah, and they were saying that was it was a commercial, of course, but they were saying that this is a really handy thing for you to carry around with you in this day and age. What's your thoughts on a taser?
I don't think anything is wrong with a taser, but
in terms of effectiveness, in terms of.
Oh yeah, they have some that knock your socks off, but would I carry a taser? You have to get close to them.
You wouldn't need to, but for I mean, just for regular.
You have to get close to them to use it though.
Yeah, that's a good point. You gotta get close to them.
Yeah. Right.
And this is how I feel about it. Okay. So if you have a taser and that person is that close to you,
you're probably dead or already shot.
If that person is wanting to hurt you that way. So as a deterrent, yeah. But so if a person is threatening to attack you, you pull the taser out. Now what you've done is introduced a weapon into that combat situation. So he has, right at that point, you have it in your hand, but who's to say he's not going to take it? Okay, so that's one thing. The two is, me personally, and I don't know if anybody agrees with me, but if I'm in a situation, someone grabs me and is hurting me, I don't want to take it. Tasing that, he has took taser off the table. Because at the end of the day, everybody has loved ones and families. And who is he to say that he's going to stop you from going to see your loved one? So if you got a taser, yeah. But like I said, the part you got to realize is you're introducing that taser into a combat situation. There's going to be bigger and stronger guys out there. You take the taser, he can incapacitate you and do whatever he want to do. So yeah, the taser would be something where the fight is actually happening. I wouldn't introduce a taser as a deterrent. Put it that way. Right. If I'm threatened, I wouldn't say, hey man, I got a taser, get back. No. It'd be hey man, whatever, blah blah blah. He starts a fight. If you can get to that taser, yeah. but just to show it to him as a deterrent, no, I wouldn't suggest that. I think that's it.
What about pepper spray?
Pepper spray is good, no, I'm sorry. What type of taser are you talking about?
No, I was.
Are you mean the long range taser or a stun gun?
He just used the word taser for the regular person.
So
I didn't run in my car, and basically, it was just a commercial, and the guy was saying, you know, to carry around much like you would pepper spray. In other words, if you're carrying, there's things which people carry pepper spray, a real loud alarm,
Right.
like or a taser was.
So we, as a law enforcement, we carry tasers. Well, I don't, but
right.
We carry tasers. A taser is, you pull it, it's like a gun, you pull the trigger and it shoots these two prongs out, it sticks in it and it gives you a rap.
And it incapacitates for
Right.
a period of time.
I don't, unless they change, I don't think they are on the market for civilians.
Well, this one I think was, and I don't know why, but.
But I think that's a stun gun.
It must be, okay, that's
Yeah,
probably
so
what it
that's
is.
one you would have to actually touch the person.
Okay.
So I definitely would suggest those. But pepper spray, I would suggest. Pepper spray is, I would get the foam, which is the one you spray, it comes out like a foam. And yeah, I would suggest. Because it's small, you can go in your pocket, you can say, hey man, I don't want any problems, and yeah.
Just be aware of the wind,
Yeah.
which direction the wind is blowing, yeah.
Yeah. Certified Tactical Combat Care. So that's pretty, and they teach those classes all over for civilians where, I teach it as well, but, me personally, for that topic, I would suggest go to a more reputable, company where you got actual combat guys. Like I said, I've seen some things as a SWAT member, but with the speed of it, the faster you are and the more challenged you are, the more you'll be able to initiate that type of stuff. So I would, if you were interested, I would look up different, it's TCC or TECC. Pretty much they teach you how to use medical supplies in an active shooter or combat situation. All right. Like I said, if I were you, I would suggest that would be one of the trainings that I would introduce. Pretty much like I did today.
Yeah.
Come in, have one of those guys come in. I can give you I text Corey and give you some suggestions. But what'll happen is they'll come in, they'll teach you guys how to use a tourniquet and how to apply medicine or medical to a person who's been shot in a combat scenario, not just me briefly going over how to use it.
Well, it'd be the next step.
It'll be the next step, exactly.
Not just first aid.
Right, oh no, first aid that's always good, but
Let's go 911, let's all do this.
yeah, it's first aid to me is a Band-Aid and CPR, which is not making it a small thing, but which is important. But casual combat care is more of intensive. Somebody using a tourniquet, chest seal, gauze. It's an intricate way you need to put those gauze in. Like I said, I've been training for a couple years now. It's still very tedious on how to put the gauze inside a hole in a person. How to use the tourniquet. You know, sometime in a stressful situation, you might put a tourniquet on, and you might be, like I was explaining to her, pulling the wrong way. And if you don't have that muscle memory, you put it on wrong. Once it's on, I'm gonna give y'all a quick tidbit. If you put it on and you realize that you have it on the wrong way, you gotta make it work. Because you're losing precious seconds taking it off and putting it back on the right way. So put it on the right, if you put it on the wrong way, keep it going and figure it out. If you put it on the wrong way, it is what it is. You gotta keep it going. Because if you take it out, if it needed a tourniquet, a lot of times it's dire and they're gonna die. But yeah, casual combat care would be a perfect class to take if y'all get a chance. Those guys will come in and they'll actually be able to show you how to do it, and they bring their fake blood and all that stuff and show you how slippery a tourniquet can be. They even have the spray. It depends on how much detail you want to go in. They have the spray where you can spray in the building and give you that sense of gunpowder. And they have guns where they shoot them, they cut the lights off, all of that stuff. And it sounds overboard, but the more prepared you are, the less trauma is, because it's going to be trauma. Shooting, smells of gunpowder, people screaming, more shooting, bodies, all of that stuff. If it happens and it's the first time you even experienced it, it's not good at all. You know, like I said, I go hunt bad guys, and every time I get ready to kick a door in, I'm like, ah, it's nerve-wracking. So imagine I've been shot at. So all that stuff, the more and more you just train for it, the more you'll be prepared, you know, for the active thing. All right. Any questions for me? All right.
Thank you.
Oh, that's no problem. I appreciate it. This is my first civilian class that I've ever taught.
Really?
First one.
This was great.
I normally teach law enforcement or military or something,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was interesting.